So today I want to talk about grace, okay, and forgiveness, how we deal with one another. So I have these couple of crazy stories recently, right? So I'll start with the Facebook, and then I'm gonna tell you a personal story. So at Facebook, I saw this terrible story, which I thought was terrible, okay? And I think the guy was a bus driver, I believe, and he was black. And there were an older white couple riding on the bus with him. And I guess they were harassing him or something. And I think they, they must have called him like the N-word, so to speak. He was really upset. But then in confronting them, he actually pushed them down.
Ugh.
Physically pushed the man first. He fell down. Then the wife was in his face, and he pushed her, and she fell down too. Now I thought that was horrible because even though, and I didn't see it from. They only showed a snippet of what happened, and I don't like to judge people really because you don't know. For all I know, they could have been harassing him all day, every day on the bus, his route, and he just snapped, or he could have been having a terrible day and he snapped. I don't like judging people, but I see a trend now that we have absolutely no grace for one another. If somebody does something that makes us mad, we just automatically react. You know what I mean? And those were older people, and I got he was hurt and he was angry, and they were wrong. But pushing an older person down they can die as a result of that, right? They can break a hip or something, and that can lead in the long term to death. So it's really dangerous to push a person down. So it's something that I think that people need to consider when we deal with one another, to maybe try to be forgiving. I know it's hard sometimes, but and let me just say this: it transcends racial issues because this other situation I saw. This is personally, right? I was coming out of an establishment. I won't call the establishment's name out, but now the people who were involved in this incident were all white. I'm the only black person just involved, right? So I'm coming out, my mother and I, my husband actually, we're coming out of this establishment that's meant for fun, okay? And I come upon this guy who's laying on the ground in the middle of the parking lot with his pants to his ankle. What? Yes. Now he had underwear on, but his pants were down his ankle.
Was he drunk?
He was unconscious. Okay. So I walk up on this, right? And I'm like, what is going on here? Now there are 3 young men standing over him, like looking at him. Not even really over him, but looking at him and standing near him. So I literally said, what is going on here? Right? And one of them said, he took a swing at me, so I knocked him out. And I was like, what? Okay, so I'm telling you guys, I was livid. First of all, you said he swung at you. He didn't hit you then, because you didn't say he hit me. He missed. So why did you have to knock him out? Secondly, why is his pants at his ankle? Did you pull his pants down to humiliate him on top of knocking him out? Third, he's laying there unconscious, had labor breathing. He could be having a heart attack. He was heavy set too. He could be having a heart attack, or he could die. So when I said that he could be having a heart attack, one of them said, "Are you all right?" I said, "You don't know that." Then I said he could die, and they said, "Oh, he ain't gonna die." And then my mom and I, by this time, my mom had caught up with me, and we said in unison, "You don't know that."
Oh God!
And I was so mad. I said, I'm a lawyer. You can go to jail for this. And I was too angry to see their reaction, but my mom said later, they were like they were all scared. but what really made me mad was the way he said it to me, as if I was supposed to be on board with that. Like, I'm supposed to understand. I knocked him out. Like, you understand, right? I'm like, no, I don't. Okay, I got it. He swung at you. Of course, that's wrong. But the guy was probably drunk. It's a kind of establishment where a lot of people drink. I mean, you don't have to drink to go, but drinks are free. So it was a casino. I ain't gonna say where, but it was a casino, and drinks are free. So people get inebriated, and they probably got into some kind of discussion. And the guy was older than them. He wasn't elderly, but they were all in their 20s, and he probably was in his maybe late 30s, early 40s. And he was heavy set, so he was slower and swinging, and they were young, fit, young guys. And it was cops 3 yards away, right? You can't have enough grace to say, when you go over there and say, look, this guy's swinging on people, y'all better come get him for we have to knock him out. I'm trying to be nice. Do you know what I mean? What is it about society that we don't have enough grace for one another that we can just, as soon as something happens, we're like, oh man, I think everybody's supposed to understand, I did that because they did this. Well, no, I'm not on board. I mean, am I being overly sensitive?
No, I think it's one of those things, like my father used to say, the swinging of the pendulum.
Okay.
I think that we're in a culture now that is that F around and find out culture. Whereas before it was turn the other cheek. Yeah. More of that.
Okay.
More of self-control. More of being politically correct in a certain way.
Okay.
But now I think it's been heightened to F around and find out. Like, you used to get away with that, but now you gonna learn today type culture. That's my opinion.
That makes sense.
But I think
that's sad.
It is sad because if everybody F's around and find out, there ain't gonna be anybody left.
To be finding out.
Everybody go. Population 0. I mean, really, look, if you think about it that way.
Right. That's so true.
And I love a commercial that's been floating around, especially after the election and during, because I have to say, politically, the political climate this time around was extremely hostile, in my opinion.
Right.
Even amongst friends, thank God I have friends that, are able to put that aside and we still love each other. But that being said, there was still tension. There was still this angst in the air. That's still settling even now.
Right.
But that being said, I just realized in this culture, you can't go toe-to-toe with people. You have to have grace to listen for understanding. But I also realized that grace starts with you. If you don't have grace for yourself, it's hard to extend that to anyone else. And I don't know if that is a part of the problem too. I don't know, but
yeah,
I do think that this culture has become more of the F around and find out.
Wow, that makes so much sense. At least I understand that, because I feel like, oh my goodness, what is going on? And I felt like I was being overly sensitive, but yeah, that's what it is. I'm taking a turn of the cheek, and they're taking like you said, F around, find out.
But I was saying there was a commercial that was floating around. I didn't finish my thought, but it was a commercial floating around, and it was all these people up. It's a black and white. I don't know if you have seen it, but it was black and white, and these people are somewhere up in each other's faces, and some are yelling, and some you just see this disdain in their face for one another. But then there's some that are on a rooftop having a party and sitting around the table with different people of different races, and they're drinking a drink or eating, and it said, there was a man, something, and it said, Jesus gets us, all of us.
Yeah, I've seen things.
And it was just like, oh, like,
yeah.
I think that there has to be a culture now of getting one another, at least trying to understand.
Yeah.
And realizing that someone's actions is not a reflection of you, but maybe something they're internally going through and just projecting out on you.
Exactly.
And so don't take it personal and don't feel like you have to defend yourself
all the time.
But maybe step back and understand the totality of the situation as best you can.
Right.
Self-govern.
Right.
Self-control.
Right.
And let them be outside of character and not you.
Not you. Right. It has some conflict resolution.
It has to be.
Yeah, we need that.
Because again, if everybody up around and find out, this would be going to the tank. I mean, who would we be as a society?
Right.
Like, what does that look like for our kids, our nieces, our nephews, and the next generation.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
you
the
couldn't
next
trust
generation.
anybody to go to the grocery store and have a talk about that. It was one time I was in Walmart and one of those people on the rolling cart thing went right in the back of me, like wham! And the old me would have been like, what? It went crazy. But I had my nephew with me, and I was almost like, and then I said, I had to calm down, get it together, and my nephew just bust out laughing, and I was like, I'm a better person now. And I had to tell him, I said, because the old me would have really been horrible right this moment. And he fell out laughing. And the lady never even said, I'm sorry. She just literally looked at me and kept going on her little thing.
Oh my goodness.
I was glad I could be a good example
that
of turning the other cheek. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, at least you showed grace in that moment. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh my God. Okay, guys. Well, hopefully, it made you think this time around. Maybe we can all treat each other a little better in the future.
Yeah, and what do you want to do? Up around the fun now? Or do you want to turn the other cheek?
Yeah.
I would like to hear.
Yeah, about that. Okay, guys. Until next time.